Can you pick up the phone? You know,
when people mail stuff to me, I'm just like,
expect
are
you
you
to
a
respond
fucking
to it?
sociopath?
Do you guys
I completely agree.
receive actual physical mail at your address, or do you have like a virtual mailbox?
I check my mailbox like once every 3 months, I think.
I literally
I
never.
pulled some like Christmas cards out the other day.
I never check
Yeah.
mine, but Mina checks every day.
So I have moved so much that years ago I set up like a virtual mailbox, so I just have one consistent address and don't need to like keep updating my address. That's been great. That's good alpha, by the way. Just set up like an Earth Class Mail, or I use virtual post mail.
So they like scan images
They
of
scan everything and then just email it to you. And then I send all of that to my EA. So my EA manages that inbox.
I don't have an EA.
Sounds optimized.
Get one. It's good. It's good. It's good. You need one. You need
You
need
need
a lot of
one
things.
probably out of most out of 4 of us, maybe.
I need more money. Can I get that first?
I need more money.
Oh, good to see you boys all back together.
Yeah, we got Eric.
Missed
back.
you guys.
Look at that tan.
I'm so
Look at that Hawaiian
oiled up and
sun-kissed tan.
When
Yeah,
you're in
lighten up,
Hawaii, do
baby.
they call you an island boy? They think you're.
Oh
an
my
island?
god, being in Hawaii, guys, it was so weird because I look just like those guys.
Yeah.
And my cousin / business partner is white. You know, our dads are brothers from
Yeah.
Sweden, so he's white. And I was talking to him. I was like, Dave, this feels pretty weird, man. This feels like for the first time, I feel like I'm the majority. And Dave's like, I know. I feel like I'm a minority here. It's so strange how people treat like the inversion.
Yeah. Hawaiians are known for not necessarily being the kindest to the non-island
It's really
people.
yeah. It's really barbell. There's
Gee,
like
I wonder why.
well, they're super friendly and like aloha spirit, and then
Yeah.
on the other hand, like super territorial and
Yes.
aggressive.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah,
We did turn their island into Disneyland.
right.
Yeah. It's a little
Um,
sad.
But man, I was meeting Ricky out there, who's a loyal Alfalfa listener and a client of Scope Wealth Management. He took care of us. We like stayed in his condo on Waikiki Beach. He like introduced us to his family. We had dinner with his parents.
Wow, dinner with the family.
Like at his parents'
Damn,
house.
go
and,
Ricky.
we had like poke and pulled pork and all this like cool Hawaiian food. And his dad like brought out the ukulele, and we're all
No
just like
way.
singing songs together. It was awesome.
Are they
damn.
from there, or did they
Yeah,
move?
born there.
Really?
But they
That's
can't
awesome.
be considered natives because
Okay.
that's like
That's a
another
special
it's another line.
category.
Okay.
Right.
There's like levels to that.
Wow.
There's levels.
A little
They're-
jealousy
they're
going on here.
Yeah, they're local but not native.
Which
Okay.
island are they again?
Oahu.
Oahu. Never been to Oahu.
That was my first time for me too.
Yeah, I like Kauai. Kauai's cool.
I've done Kauai 3 times. I like that one.
It's very less touristy. It's
Yeah,
more
Waikiki
nature.
Beach is super touristy.
Right.
We did that on the first day, and then for the rest of the time, it was all like local stuff.
That's cool.
It was
I've never
awesome.
done local that style. You got to know. You got to know somebody, obviously.
He
That's great.
cordially invited all of us to come there and
Ricky's in
record.
the chat, by the way.
Oh, he's there. What's
Yeah.
up, dude?
I mean, he invited us.
He invited
I'm
all
free
of
next
us,
weekend.
but it was rad.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody, to the Alfalfa podcast. We are live on YouTube, like we are every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. We got the whole crew today. Eric, Armand, Steven, I'm Nick. What's up to everyone joining the chat? I saw Ricky in there, Tunsky, Adam, K. Scott. Who else we got in there? D. Koch,
Matt.
Corby, Matt.
Up. Adam. Nice. Got the whole crew here.
What up? Yeah,
See
glad
it.
glad you guys are joining. Thanks for joining us. And if you're just listening, which most of you are, we know, we see it in the data. Come on over to
Love the retention data, though.
yeah, we love it. But come over maybe once in a while. Hop in the YouTube. You can still play it. You know, you don't have to like stare at it and watch it. But maybe come try it out one time.
Nick, I see we got some graphics on the screen.
Oh, do you see
I
that?
see a little calendar in the corner. That's cute.
Yeah, that's cute.
Got a little watermark.
Oh my god, I gotta see
We're
this.
That watermark
upgrading.
looks nice.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
I think
gotta
it
see
changes.
It's a rich looking watermark.
this. I love our new starting soon screen. Love it.
Upgrades.
Damn, this is so cool.
Only took a
looking.
year, but we got it.
God,
in.
it has a clock in it. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, so you guys know what fucking time it is, so we can wrap up on time.
Got stands for the lights.
Great
Oh, yeah,
job.
yeah,
great
great
job on the
job.
lights.
Actually,
Lights are standing. Success.
not putting them on boxes anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
Boxes
know,
of
random
cereal.
boxes in the office.
Yeah, love it.
All right, so you guys can support the pod a few ways. You can like the video you're watching now, subscribe to the channel. You can also hop in the super chat. Any donations there, your chat goes live on the screen. You'll be able to see it. I think anyone's over $69 get a text to speech. So, yeah,
Oh,
we have a
new
little
feature.
special voice that'll
Would
just
we be able to play that?
it just plays.
Oh my god,
We don't have
no
our
way.
headphones in, so we wouldn't hear it necessarily.
What did you?
They
select
literally
for
get to take
voice?
over the pod with their voice.
Right.
That's incredible.
Could be risky with this group, but
It could be very
yeah,
risky.
we'll play it out.
I have another call to action.
Yeah,
actually.
please do.
I was talking to our buddy Brendan. He was saying something that really helps podcasts is reviews. We haven't asked for that in a long, long time. So leaving reviews in Apple Podcasts. So if you're on Apple Podcasts right now, or just fire it up, go to Alfalfa, leave an honest review, write something, put your stars. Same thing on Spotify. I don't think you can write an actual review on Spotify, but you can give us a rating. Goes a long way apparently toward organic discovery. So please, Alfalfa community, go leave some reviews.
Okay, great. And,
Make them funny. We'll read them out.
Yeah,
We'll read out our favorites. I would
Yeah.
love to make this a little thing. If we can kind of get in the habit with the community of leaving some reviews every week, we'll start to read the good ones out.
Cool. You can also go pods.media/alfalfa, collect the on-chain collectibles. We got a dead heat going on, guys. D. Simmons and Zimvi, 43 each.
Dang.
Yeah. I'm into racing, and yeah, we're
I want to know who this Zimby character is.
It's like Max Verstappen.
Zimby. Show yourself.
Somebody's alias in the chat.
Yeah, it probably is. Come on in. Let us know who you are. All right, Eric. What are we drinking today?
So this is a whiskey courtesy of Ricky. This is like a Nika. It's straight from the barrel, I think it says.
Nika from the
It's
barrel.
incredible.
Nika from the barrel.
This is high quality Japanese whiskey, man.
So unfortunately, I'm not able to drink today because I'm getting a medical procedure tomorrow. So I'm
What are you chugging?
dead sober. I'm drinking. I don't know if I can show this. It's called Suprep.
Would you have to drink that whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Really?
From what hours? Like how long do you
So I
have?
have to get to this blue line by
Is that like
7
4
p.m.
gallons?
Okay.
and then the whole thing by 11 p.m.
Holy!
Wow.
And I'm sipping it out of this
He's loving it.
straw because they said this improves the flavor.
Okay.
And like it fools you into an improved flavor.
So by
it's a
the end
metal
of the
straw?
pod, you have to get to that blue line.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, sir.
And
Oh,
apparently,
you'll be fine.
Armand's done this before. I've never done it.
Yeah.
So it's for colonoscopy.
Mhm.
I've never done it, but apparently this stuff runs right through you.
Oh yeah. It's highly likely that Eric will go missing during this episode.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to pass the
Might have a bathroom break
camera
or
situation
two.
to somebody.
Highly recommend that as alpha, though, as I was telling you, Eric. I think 2 things that are very important for people to do: CT scan of the heart, highly underrated, especially if anyone has any family history of heart disease. It's really important to know, obviously, where your cholesterol levels are at. But cholesterol levels, knowing your LDL, knowing your ApoB, and having those markers be healthy is very important. But there's a lot of things that don't show. And often you can have calcification in the heart and the arteries, but you don't know that and it doesn't show. So you need to get a CT scan of the heart. You can get one for like under $200. And then, colorectal issues, cancers of all kinds are so common these days. And unfortunately, that's something that is not approved by insurance until over 50, I believe. But I say anybody over the age of 30, in particular men, should get one initial at least colonoscopy, and then maybe every 5 years. And there's obviously a lot of, the next kind of thing in the preventative diagnostic medical kit would be the full body MRIs, which you did, Nick. So I think between those are 3 core things, like full body MRIs, have a full scope of all your organs, overview maybe every 5 years, the CT scan of the heart. You want to get ahead of these like major things and be as preventative as you can. So yeah, you'll do great. It's very easy.
Quick question on the colonoscopy. Are you a sleeper or a watcher?
So I go Army style.
What's that?
Army people and doctors, they're awake.
Oh, God.
It's only like 2% of people that do a colonoscopy. Everyone's asleep.
You stayed awake.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you sign up for that
I got
again?
things to do. I wanted to just get right back to it. No, they don't really advise anyone to do that. But
I'm
I
sleeping.
asked if I could, and they were like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's just do it." It was fine.
Okay.
It
All
was
right.
fine.
You're a
It's
weirdo.
that initial. That initial. Once you're past that,
Is it erogenous?
for some people, that's the magic spot for some people. That's come up in the Discord.
Okay.
Colonoscopies?
No, that erogenous. That was a whole weird discussion 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I missed that
Oh,
one.
you missed that one.
Yeah.
That was
Mm.
Tom Nom Nom actually. Brought it up.
Shocker.
Shocker.
Wouldn't have guessed.
All right. Well, I need a clean break between that and our sponsor read. So, Ricky, thank you for the whiskey. Appreciate it much.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. All right. Let's give a shout out to ZBiotics. Go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Check it out. You get 15% off your first purchase. Yeah, I took my ZBiotics before we started drinking today, so I can still get my workout in tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be still on track for tomorrow.
Good boy.
Yeah, good boy.
I have investor meetings in the morning. I also took mine. I need to be clear, bright as day.
Good. And we got a little 4th of July shindig coming up. So I ordered some more
Nice.
backups for 4th of July. I hope you guys do too. Yeah, it's the drink you take before drinking so you don't have, that terrible feeling in the morning. So check it out, zbiotics.com/alfalfa, and use the code alfalfa at checkout. Helps out support the pod. And thank you, ZBiotics, as always, for supporting us. Appreciate it. Okay. Does anyone have any alfalfa around? We got quite the topic schedule today. So
I would consider what I gave a little alfalfa, so
Okay.
I'm done.
That was good, Alfalfa.
I like that.
I have a PSA.
Okay.
It is
Feach donated
Come to my awareness that,
$69.69. Love you long time.
a lot of you out there don't know how to drive. When you were on the highway,
Why were you
and
looking
are
at
in
me
the
the whole
left
time?
lane,
Is this a PSA or what grinds your gears?
it's both.
Okay, I like this.
If you are in the left lane, just
Go.
because you are driving 70 and the speed limit is 65, it does not mean that you are cool to just sit there and
Oh.
block all the traffic.
I agree with
You
that.
have to move over.
Actively to the right.
It is the passing lane.
Yes.
You could actually literally be pulled over for a cop like this because you're disrupting the flow of traffic and ruining my day.
Yeah, but this isn't known in America.
It's like
this is
unbelievable
known
to me
in
how many people
Europe
don't know this.
that the left lane is the passing lane. Always stay to the right unless you're passing. That is not known in America.
I drove
Nobody
in
follows that.
Italy for Jay's wedding. It was a magical experience. Like everything just flowed perfectly, and you got to keep an eye on what's behind you. But like things happen. You can get where you need to go at the right speed. Everyone knows you pass on the left. It seems safer.
Oh, yeah.
No. Anyway,
Way better.
I
Good
saw-
PSA.
I saw a video of a cop pulling a guy over for doing this, and it was like the most satisfying thing I'd ever watched. I was just like, oh, yes. The guy
They-
was like, I wasn't speeding. Give
well,
him
they
a whole
don't
lecture.
teach
It's
that
amazing.
when you get your license.
How
It's
do they not teach that?
They don't teach it.
I feel like that's a thing you're supposed to know.
I don't think most people know that. Yeah.
Get
But
the
now
fuck
they
out of
do.
the left lane.
Now they do. Let's make this
Move.
clip go viral. PSA.
all right. Anyone else got anything? We're good.
I'm good.
Well, hopefully next week we'll get the alfalfa.
Just
on
drink
the-
out of a straw, apparently.
How to shit.
Okay. The first topic we were gonna go over was goat finance movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I saw this tweet up here. Some guy was in the mood for a finance movie. He's seen The Big Short, Margin Call, Too Big to Fail, and Wolf of Wall Street. So it got me thinking, like, what's the best ever? It took us like 3 years to get you to watch The Big Short.
I finally did. It's a great movie, by the way.
Okay.
Great call.
So is it like in your top 3, top 1?
It's probably the best ever, I think. And I think what makes that one good, it's like the way they tell the story. It's just like really good storytelling. And I don't think that
Like Dune 2.
we don't need to get into that. I rewatched Dune 2, and it got better the second time.
Okay.
But that's indicative of like poor storytelling when you have to like watch something a couple times to like really.
Like Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones first couple episodes I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I agree.
But it's an incredible story.
And they do a great job of telling that story, but they have a lot of time to do it. They have 8 seasons.
Yeah.
So that's
Still
a
going to watch
luxury.
it twice.
So you guys are much bigger. I'm more curious your answers because you guys are much bigger into these finance movies. I haven't seen a lot of the great ones. I have seen The Big Short and Wolf of Wall Street. I would lean Wolf of Wall Street personally. I
Okay.
think that is, like, just generally speaking, one of the most entertaining movies and well-made movies.
Have you seen the OG Wall Street?
Okay,
Michael
yeah.
Douglas.
Yes.
How was Wall Street not on
Yes,
here?
but it was a long time ago.
I mean, Michael
Yes.
Douglas played in Gordon Gekko. He gives the greed is good speech at was it a shareholder meeting, I think? Yeah, he's got the backpack size cell phone on the beach making trades. And then,
That's a good one. What about
Boiler Room.
Boiler
Yes,
Boiler Room
also-
is so good.
Also missing from here.
Okay, so my top 3 is exactly that. It's The Big Short, Wall Street, and then Boiler Room.
Have you seen the new Wall Street, the redo
Yeah.
with Shia?
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's not.
There's no way it's
It's
as
not good.
It's not a redo,
good.
though. It's like a continuation of the story.
Okay, yeah.
You find, Gordon Gekko's, son is, the protagonist.
I tried rewatching that because that came out a few years ago. I tried rewatching that recently, and I was like, this is so bad compared to, the ones we're talking about.
Yeah. Good old insider trading, What is it, like Blue Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel? That's a signal.
Are there any, like, undercover kind of culty ones?
Okay, there's an
Most
older
people
one
don't know.
that my dad
Curious if the
loves
chat
called
has any of
Trading
those.
Places. It's
Oh,
got Dan
that's actually
Aykroyd
great.
and Eddie Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
swap with the 2 old traders on the floor.
Oh, that's
and
like a comedy.
Yeah, and the 2
Yeah.
old guys are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Mortimer and someone else.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's like a prototypical, like, 90s movie.
Yeah. I think it was 1983 when it came out, but I watched
Oh,
it in the 90s. 'Cause,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was actually conscious. Conscious as a new human
Damn,
being.
that was an '80s movie.
Yeah,
Oh
It was really good.
I dug it.
Is Mr. Robot considered finance?
Ooh, well, that's a series though, isn't it?
It's like
is.
finance adjacent. Yeah, it's not a movie.
Hacker show.
Yeah. No, that's not. It's
I
no, it's no
saw
Gordon Gekko.
a list that tried to put Glenn Ross as a finance show. Pass. It's not. It's not.
No.
Love that movie,
Yeah.
but
Sales show.
yeah, but not finance territory. What else? You got any bangers that you liked?
I mean, but Boiler Room gets you fucking pumped.
I
It's just like,
so when I was I think my first professional job was working for a brokerage, and we were advising on 401k plans. And one of the things I was doing was cold calling CFOs, trying to get them to our like 401k seminar. And in the broker's CRM, it was called Broker Vision. You typed in like a secret word, a secret customer name, and all it was motivational quotes to keep selling and keep calling. and like I added my own Boiler Room quotes in there. And
That feels very Boiler Room of you to do.
yeah, I was in like a 6-person like, shop, just
In the
smiling
bullpen.
and dialing.
Yeah.
somebody needs to make like a crypto movie.
I feel like
a good one somehow.
What about any of these ones about Roaring Kitty and GameStop? Do they land?
I didn't even watch any of those.
I liked it. What was it called? I forget the name of it. The Netflix one. Dumb Money.
Dumb
Yeah.
Money.
It's called Dumb Money.
I haven't seen that.
Dumb Money's good. It's not as good as these though. They're just so much nostalgia value here.
What about there's like an Enron phase.
Smartest guys in the room.
Yes, forgot about that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. The Enron story is just nuts.
What about is American Psycho qualify as like a finance movie because the guy's like an
nah.
investment banker, right?
Probably not.
Not really.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But
No, you got to be
Jason.
doing
doing finance.
finance things.
Too Big to Fail seemed to be like the overwhelming favorite. Or what I say? Too Big to Fail? No, Big Short.
Big Short.
Big
Yeah.
Short.
So good.
Oh, the other one was I can't believe we haven't mentioned this one. Not Wall Street. Oh, Margin Call. Have you seen Margin Call?
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I mean, Margin Call's on the.
Yeah, I like Margin
yeah.
Call. That he gives like a monologue at the end that says like, they pay me the big bucks to know when the music stops.
Right.
Who's the main actor?
I don't know any of the. Well,
Jeremy
Kevin Spacey's
Irons?
in it, but Jeremy Irons is like.
Is Margin Call where like we're selling to willing buyers
Yeah,
at
yeah.
fair market price?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're dumping all the like collateralized mortgage securities, and they actually realized it before anyone else. And he tells his sales guy, "Hey, you're gonna dump shit on people, and you're gonna ruin all your relationships in the business.
And you're gonna get a huge bonus.
You're gonna get a massive bonus." And then he's got to go in and like convince his salespeople to get on the phones and start selling.
No, Kevin Spacey's in it.
Yeah.
So
Kevin
scummy.
Spacey and Jeremy Irons.
All right, chat. Let us know what your favorite finance movies are.
Can never do this one in crypto because you're just like sitting on a computer. It's just not. It's not cool anymore. You're not going on a yacht with
Yeah.
Italian models and trading on your phone at the beach. It's just like dark room.
Yeah, there's no Suits either. I feel
No.
like Suits makes it fun. All right, here. What do we got next on the agenda? Oh yeah, let's throw this up. Steven, you put this in here. Did you get a?
Yeah, this was funny.
So what are we looking at here?
So this is a Fox News poll. Disclaimer. It says net approval on eliminating taxes on tips. So I guess they asked people like, do you support eliminating taxes on tips? Which should be something a lot of people might support. But they did they did a little switcheroo. They told one group that it was a Trump proposal, and then they told the other group that it was not. And like Democrats had a 50-point swing. They went from plus 40 in eliminating taxes to minus 10.
Well, what's most interesting is basically this becomes a nonpartisan issue when Trump's name is not included. They're almost the same.
Yeah.
Plus 40 and plus 46 for Democrats and Republicans. The Republicans get a little excited when Trump's name is included, though, and go plus
Yeah,
71.
they get a
But they
They get a
don't get
bump.
excited as libs get mad.
Right.
It's like a 2-to-1 ratio here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a 50-point swing, and
it's 50 to 25. This is kind of interesting because it mirrors the loss aversion studies, where they quantify like how bad losing feels versus how good winning feels.
Yeah.
And they say it's about a 2-to-1 difference, and that's like exactly what this is. It's a like Trump makes people twice as mad as he makes them feel good on the other end.
The debate's tomorrow.
The debate is tomorrow. I am like
Giddy.
I'm giddy.
are you gonna
giddy.
watch it?
Yeah.
You are gonna watch it.
It's gonna be a weird experience though. It's just like it's gonna be no audience, and then just no talking over. I wonder if you're still gonna hear his voice in the background though. Like,
What do you mean no talking over?
They have the mics muted.
These were the terms of the agreement. No
Yeah.
audience. The moderators can mute mics so that there's no talking over. Because if you watch the 2021, it's
They
literally
always just
both
yeah,
talking at the
they
same
don't
time.
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
You'd be in jail.
I like that version. Where they
I mean,
can
it's
kind of quip
it's-
at each other.
It's definitely better for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
This will be more
constructive it is.
professional, you could say.
I kind of feel like it's weird, like making it more professional at this point, though. Like I think there should just be no rules,
I think it's interesting that
all out.
most people already have their mind made up about these. So I question whether these things are actually useful or not. And I feel like they're playing to like two audiences. One is, 8% of people in swing states like Pennsylvania who are undecided, who probably won't watch this anyway, because they're just like, they don't care until maybe a month out and it's coming time to vote and they need to make a decision. And then the other audience is just TikTok clips. Like, can they have a moment where they just win the moment, clip it, and hope it goes viral? Because like all we know is most people are just going to know whatever clip goes viral Friday morning.
Yeah, like these things usually end up where like most people don't have awareness of really like the whole debate, right? And so usually it ends up just being everyone stays in the position that they previously were in. But sometimes I think what can happen is one person can gain a lot of momentum and show that they're way more ready for the role and the position. And like no one ever goes and watches the debate. The majority of people don't, but they'll hear that so and so crushed it. If one person really crushes it, like then it's kind of can swing a lot of votes in their favor if they're like, this person's way more ready to be president and the other one was just like got crushed. Because people do like competition.
Yeah. I like to think more about the prep they're doing. I call it the murder boards. So basically, like, I'm sure Biden is like in a room that like looks similar to the room, and they got to find someone to play Trump, so they can practice, right? He's going to try to rattle his cage. He's going to try to say shit to mess him up. And I would wish I could be in those rooms when they're prepping.
Yeah.
And I wonder if right now it's the night before the debate.
It's
He's
probably
probably
awesome
prepping
in
right
there.
now.
I was
and
so
they're all
surprised.
hands down and probably putting their palms in their foreheads, being like, "Oh fuck."
Trump is already playing mind games. He was very respectful and like almost complimentary, but in a backhanded way toward Biden. Like I don't know if you guys saw the All In.
He's
yeah,
like
I think
he's
you all
like
saw
Uno
it.
carding right now.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was like, they were like, so you're gonna clean him up in the debate, and he was like, he's a formidable opponent.
Yeah, I heard that.
I think he's an idiot, and I've thought he's an idiot for the last 30 years. Never liked him, but I'm not going to underestimate him. That's brilliant. What he's actually doing is reducing Biden's emotion and desire to come out attacking in the debate. I think he's going to blindside him in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's like
no,
when
I
you're
get-
complimentary, when someone is disrespectful towards you, you're like, let's go. You want to come and get him. So he's actually deflating that energy by being a little bit complimentary toward him. And he was very clearly complimentary. He was like, I am not going to assume that I'm going to win this.
There was
He was like, he defeated Paul Ryan handedly. He's a good debater. I was like, what? Trump just called Biden a good debater?
There was an article, I forget what site it was, either Politico or CNN, and they said Trump could basically be more respectful, and it could frustrate Biden's
Can
debate
totally see
strategy
it. Can
because
totally
like he's
see
just
it.
totally
It
thrown
would
off.
be the ultimate move because like
Yeah.
Biden's probably got like one. He's probably just so trained on this one thing, right? And it would be incredible. Like Trump would just be like,
It seems
"It's an
like that's
excellent
the
point, Joe."
strategy.
And then Joe's just like,
Make him look like the
screaming,
asshole.
But then like there's
And it
nothing to
gives
scream
Trump
at.
a platform to kind of actually like get to share what he, some policy positions, which people say he never really gets into the details of, which I agree. He glossed over so many things on the All In pod, but he addressed them. He was like, no, I'm not doing a national ban on abortion. But then there's like press the next day, national ban on abortion. It's like, what? He just said he's not going to do that.
Do you guys think that there's more upside for Joe tomorrow? Because like he can demonstrate maybe some like cognitive abilities
Yeah.
that
Steven brought up this point because one of the things I was thinking about was like betting on who will win the Democratic primary basically before the debate and then selling right after, assuming he has an issue on stage. But Steven brought up a good point. The expectations are so low that like as long as he doesn't collapse and completely freeze on stage, like he's gonna.
Yeah, I
thought
think
it was
that's
win.
what Trump is doing, by the way, which is like oddly intelligent. This is my favorite part about Trump is like when he does like standard stuff that should just be like baseline. Everybody's like, "This is fucking brilliant," because you're just so used to like just such stupidity.
Have any of you guys seen The West Wing?
I've seen a few.
Okay, so there is an actual episode on this. It's a vice president debate. The character's named Leo McGarry, and no, not as a great debater. And press starts getting leaked that in preparation, he's freezing. Like he's like the worst debater ever. It is apocalyptic. Like it's gonna fail, and they don't know where the leak's coming from. They're trying to find the leak, and then going in the debate, he has the least expectations possible, and he goes out there, says a few good lines, and they're like, "Oh, he actually did pretty good." Turns out the leak was Leo McGarry himself.
Yes.
He played a little trickery, made sure everyone going in was not going to expect much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe this is
This is the
part
thing
of long
because
con.
last election we were watching like we were just expecting him to die on stage. I mean, this was like 4 years ago too,
That's what
and
people
like when he
expected for
didn't,
State of the Union,
yeah,
and he kind of just showed up and
for like 40 minutes and then
yeah.
So
I
Well-
agree. It's a strategy.
All right, let's stop talking about the debate stuff. Let's talk about maybe some substance of what's to come from this debate or maybe the election. I'm curious what you guys think are the actual, like, most important. Let's not say political, but maybe like policy issues that are actually up for grabs in this election. I'm curious what you guys think they
There's
are.
a bunch. Immigration is huge. The border, crypto, abortion. There's some big ones.
hold up, pick one, buddy.
I mean, that I care about, or
Yeah,
that I
what
think is
do
the
you-
biggest.
What is like?
What do I care about?
Yeah,
I
what's-
mean, none of it. This whole thing is a sham.
None of it.
No, none of
you
it.
don't think any issues are important?
Okay, to be real, the economy. Like, I think like, but I know the answer. They're both going to print money. They're not going to get us out of this situation. They're both going to have the same policy. They're going to talk like they have different approaches to it. They're going to talk like, Trump was talking about cutting education and, what he did for taxes. And he's going to talk about his tax cuts and how much better of an economy he's going to really create. And that might be true. But at the end of the day, the debt's just going to keep accumulating. I don't see a huge difference in strategy. They both printed equal amounts of money. Maybe Trump's hand was more forced because of the situation.
Definitely.
Of COVID.
Yeah.
And not wanting to let the country go into a depression. I care most about the well-being of myself and everyone around me, and that's the market.
So I have something that kind of riffs off what you said. So you mentioned they're both going to run deficits, and I agree they will. Idiots will run deficits. But the most important thing to me is the taxes. And, I would prefer, if they're going to run deficits, which we think they are, I'd rather have that cash come to me and let me allocate the capital rather than like give
course.
an additional incremental dollar to the U.S. government to allocate. So
Every day
there's going to
you
be a
hold that
deficit either
money.
way, right? The biggest thing to me though is that the Trump tax cuts don't expire until 2025. So we actually haven't seen Biden's like real force, his real opinion on like what tax policy should be. He's spouted off like plenty of things, like a 25% tax on unrealized gains, which is like
Jesus Christ.
whatever. It's not practical, but we don't really know what he could push through. And yeah, I'm a little nervous. Like selfishly, like I think everyone should vote for their own self-interest, and everything will work out. Like Trump's tax cuts certainly helped. It helped real estate. It helped, in particular, like business owners. I'm not talking about corporate tax rate. I'm talking about pass through, like LLC, and I'd like to see those continue. And obviously, the income tax rate is lower, and those expire in 2025. And yeah, if you vote for Biden, then you get whatever he's going to come up with, assuming, I don't know what the House and the Senate, seatings will rake up. So that was my top one. I have a few more, but curious what you guys' top ones are.
I mean, I definitely think they're very different on the economy. I don't think it's
Yeah.
like the same thing, because I think in one instance you're going to get tax cuts, you're going to get less regulation, and then you're going to have like more pro-energy exploration, oil, nuclear. And then on the other end, you're going to have higher taxes, more regulation, more restrictive energy. I mean, none of those things I think are good economically. The tariff thing is kind of like a huge question mark.
Yeah, that one hits home.
I still don't know how that's going to play out. He proposed like getting rid of the income tax and replacing it with tariffs. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's a wild ass proposal.
Yeah, okay.
It's wild, but these are just things you do when you're campaigning. And when people come into power, they typically don't initiate the changes that they propose at the speed or to the degree in which they originally proposed. Like, you want to always run on change. If you're not running on change, you're not going to win.
Right.
Change wins, right? But once you're in power, you don't want to initiate all those changes all of a sudden. That would be catastrophic.
You do if it's your second term.
Maybe.
You got nothing to lose,
Maybe.
baby.
Yeah.
Can't run again.
I thought hope is the second term. Change is the first term. Hope is the second one. Wasn't that Obama's?
No, the first term was hope, and then
Oh,
the
okay.
second term was stepping on your dreams
Oh.
and ruining everything, and making you never vote Democrat again.
Tell
That's
us
your
how you
second term.
really feel, Steven.
No, I like, for me, like it's just I feel like immigration is the most important thing. I feel like you can't like nothing in the country functions if you don't have like
Okay, which part of immigration? Are you talking about southern border immigration or like the immigration that we want?
Like the border or immigrating into the country legally?
it's both. I mean, you have to
legal, desirable immigration, I
Yeah,
guess.
I
we
mean,
could,
the
like,
green
juice
card
up
thing is
the-
amazing, but that won't happen. You know,
Why not?
I think that's just like extreme
I agree.
to say like everyone that gets a degree in the country is going to get a green card. I mean, I think it's awesome. It's a really radical idea. It's a very Malay sort of radical idea.
Every degree is probably too much.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to say these particular degrees are more needed.
Valued and
Yeah, let's not repeat like a student loan situation where you get student loans for like a communications degree. Let's
Yeah.
maybe filter that down a bit. But there's something like 1 million international students that get a degree every year in the U.S. And so you're talking about 1 million people, and they're not just going to want to like live here themselves. They're probably going to bring their immediate family members. So you talk about dependents, maybe like 2-3 million people that you're going to let in, which is like an order of magnitude higher than what we currently let in through like legal, desirable immigration. So that one was like great idea. I actually love it, but seemed like impractical,
A little
either
far-fetched.
more politically impractical than anything.
Yeah, but the brain drain of this country is like a very important topic, and like the ability to actually have, the people that come to the country to go to school internationally are some of the smartest people in the world, because when they're applying from, say, like anywhere, say someone from Libya is applying to go to Harvard, there's a very finite amount of positions and spots, right? And so oftentimes what happens is people have to go to Canada, people have to go to London. They take second, third best schools as options. And the U.S. does have a very good postgraduate education system, although that's a controversial statement in and of itself because it's kind of been on the downward trend. But the fact is they eventually cross that hurdle to get in, to come to school with a very finite level of international student positions, and then they just have to leave. And that's really bad. That's really sad for they want to stay. The reason they came to school in the country in the first place is because they love the idea of America. And they want to bring their families. They want to build a business. They want to start a company. But instead, they have to go back to Libya and start their tech company from there with like high regulation, no support from the government, no capital. If they stayed here, they have everything. And so that would be very, very good for the country.
Yeah.
On the other side, you have millions of people crossing the border illegally. And I'm curious your guys' take on that, because that's one of those issues that I think is so intentionally grayified by the media. Like, what's really true? Like, they don't make it clear what's really happening and who stands for what. They make it seem like both sides are destroying the border. What's really true?
One side is
action?
definitely destroying the border, though. Like, one side is definitely destroying the border. One side wanted to put like a wall up and enforce the border, and the other side sold it for scrap metal and then just let anybody. It's like, it's insane. It's one of those issues that is so insane it makes you question what the hell like the underlying motivations of the politicians even are. Like, why would you allow this to happen? Like, it is. Like, there's nobody in the country, I think, who thinks the current policy is a good idea. Like, if you stripped away all of the, oh, Trump wants this, or Republicans want this, and you just talk to people about the border, like 88% of the country, I think, would come down on like the opposite of what is like currently happening. So it is like the biggest disconnect between like what actually happens versus what people want in the country. It's like complete and utter madness, and it has implications that people don't even think about. Like, obviously it's bad like when you're letting drugs flow through the border. Obviously it's bad if you just like are letting terrorists flow through, but like people don't think about the impact it has on like wages, for example. Like, we have like a wealth inequality problem. We have a people not being able to afford stuff problem. Like, suppressing everybody's wages doesn't help that is also something that sort of like trickles through into other areas. Like, there's so many reasons to not do what we're doing, and it's not like one of these problems where we're like, we don't know how to solve it. Like, there's some issues that are actually like really complicated. Like, how do you stop the earth from warming? That's a pretty complicated issue. How do you stop people from walking across the border? That's not a complicated issue. That's just an issue of political will, right? So for all the billions of dollars we send to Ukraine to drone strike, 17-year-old soldiers and just fund this like meat grinder over there, right? Like, we could have a border. Like, we have the technology. We don't even need just a wall. You can do like the Israel thing with like the cameras and the drone. Like, there's all sorts of ways to solve this problem, and we don't. But why? It drives me crazy.
How easy is it actually for somebody to like sneak into the United States illegally?
It's insanely easy.
Like,
It's a
and
fucking joke. You don't even have to sneak in. You just show up to the border and claim asylum. There's no check on it. There's no confirmation that you're actually like, you just claim asylum and walk in. If you go on TikTok in like foreign countries, there's just how-to guides like that just circulate how to get into the U.S. It's it's a joke.
When you go to the deli and you take a ticket to wait your line, like, you claim asylum, you get a ticket, and then your court case is probably in 4 months, but you're in.
Oh, so you wait
They
for
just
your court
release
case
you into
on the United States side as
Yeah.
you're waiting, and you don't even have to
and
show
then
up.
You don't show up.
Yeah, but and one of the key things that Biden repealed was like there was a wait in Mexico policy, which said, okay, you want to claim asylum, take your ticket, but instead of waiting in the U.S., you're going to wait in Mexico. And it probably took a lot of political capital to negotiate that, and he just repealed it. And so all those people will just use that as an excuse. So the asylum rules need to be...
Why would you repeal that? What is the upside of doing that, other than that you are either just... You have full Trump derangement and you just repeal anything he does, which is stupid because it can't all be terrible, or you have some weird actual evil motives for doing it. But like, it's clearly not smart. Like, I have not heard anybody tell me like why that's a good idea. Why would you do that?
It's funny, like my fiance pays zero attention to politics, but she's actually very shrewd about politics because she just like uses her common sense. She doesn't know any of the narratives, doesn't know any of the players, doesn't know the teams, the sides, like anything. And she just like, we're laying in bed one night and she's like, so there are a lot of people coming through the border. She's like, they come from countries that are not like the U.S. Like they're usually like in turmoil. These people like they probably consider physical violence more of a solution than, law and order. And they're coming over the border in like millions. Is that true? And I was like, yeah, that's true. She's like, that seems like an asinine and very dangerous, for just like on pure, safety of your own citizen population. Seems very dangerous. Seems like a dumb idea. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And
I don't know if there's like an evil underlying reason or if there's some sort of like long-term 3 moves ahead plan, but I know the way that people think, and a huge percentage of the country supports it. I don't think it's 12% that are like against it. That I think that there's a lot of people that believe that I think this is like a famous AOC quote, I'll paraphrase, is like, what is morally good is more important to do than what is logically correct. And a lot of people believe that like you should just do the morally right thing, not the logically correct thing. A huge percentage of people. And so their thinking is something like, these poor people need help. We must help them. We're America. And a lot of people are like, whatever that takes, if that takes opening the door and letting millions of people in, and some of them end up causing some harm, it's a net positive. We all know people that think.
I think that's like the
that's the
think
general.
Some people think like that, but
way of
like
thinking.
if you actually get in the weeds with people and talk to them, just like with like a blank slate, virtually nobody. Like it is like a tiny minority of like this like weird left sort of like intellectual fringe or whatever that like.
Oh, I totally
actually
agree.
believe
Once you
this.
make it real for people,
Right, that's my point. It's like
they're
people
like, "Oh, I don't want that."
actually
Like,
don't
if you explain
want this.
the second order, third order effects of that morally good decision, they're like, "No, I don't want that in my backyard." You describe a few problems that would result, and then go like, "Wait, never mind. I don't want that."
Yeah, like it's like insane. Like how many of our problems would be solved just by forcing people to deal with like the consequences of their
Consequences.
political opinions for like one day.
people don't even want new homes built in their backyard. Like, do you think they want like I don't know, foreign
it's-
people flooding?
Yeah, like here,
Illegally?
you want- go house here.
But
Open
that's
up
the
one of your
problem.
bedrooms. Go
That's-
house some people for a bit.
It is like.
Change your opinion real fast.
I hear you, but I also disagree that it's like the most straightforward thing. Like it isn't that black and white.
Yes,
Sometimes.
it is black and
No,
white.
let me
This
say why.
is
It
black and white.
It is not black and white because there are thousands of people that are fleeing for their lives and genuinely are seeking asylum.
Too fucking bad.
I mean,
There's
that's
a process.
that's your
Wait
take.
in Mexico. Follow the
No,
process.
that's the policy as it was. And I'm saying that there are countries that have a position that say, we allow for asylum. We are a country that was built on people seeking asylum. Like, let's not forget that. The people that started this country were seeking asylum. Were they not? They were persecuted. There's a part of that that's part of the ethos of America that people don't want to let go of.
There's a quote to that extent on like the bottom of the Statue of Liberty.
Tired, you're poor, all that. Give them all.
And I
Not your best, not your geniuses, all of them. We'll take all of them.
Yeah, we'll take all of them in a world where we don't have like infinite government programs of welfare. Like when this country was basically like, you come here and you're on your own and you'll make it if you're great. Like, that's fine. At least there's like sort of like a libertarian argument for that. That philosophy does not work.
If that doesn't exist anymore,
in
then
a
we're just
welfare
going to
state
live
society.
in a very
It just does
isolated
not.
world. We're going to be
No, we're not. We'll have
very
we'll have a
isolated.
process for letting people in who are seeking asylum. We have a very simple process for letting people in who are like actual like economic contributors and can do stuff for the country. Like this is not rocket science. It's like one of our easiest problems to solve. Like
Yeah,
it
I mean,
just-
if
it
you're
just
in that
is.
position and you're seeking asylum, I think the answer is you just, hey, maybe you can't go to America. That's your number one pick. Maybe you can't go there. Maybe you got to go to Mexico. Maybe you got to go to Canada.
Just, not even just go. Just wait there.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. There's like
wait
there's
there.
an idea there's somewhere in between where you can like do it legally and not do it illegally. If it's illegal, it should probably be deterred, right? Like if
Yeah.
it's illegal,
Well,
Totally.
because if you're talking about the moral thing to do, is to have a legal process in which they can start, maybe not when by traveling there, they can start from their home, wherever they live. And then, maybe there's a process, because when you do it illegally, you could argue that this is like the immoral way to go about it, because you create a black market for literally transporting human beings, from one country to another. And
That exists throughout the whole world, though.
yeah, but like, if we're going to hold ourselves to this higher standard, then let's keep it consistent.
You're exactly right. Like, this is the same thing with like the homelessness problem, right? Like, people say like, oh, it's morally wrong to be hard on homeless or have all these policies, right? But they're looking at morality in this like just this very narrow lens, and the consequences of the actions that they propose at this very narrow lens. We're in reality, like, if you are sort of soft on particular things, you may be enabling a larger system that creates like way more suffering in aggregate. And there's suffering in all these areas that you don't even know you cause suffering, because you are enabling this like this system to take place that wouldn't have otherwise existed, Like, if you have a policy of being kind to, I'm not saying we should be mean to homeless people, but like, I'm saying like, if you have this policy of like, let's be very accommodating and helpful, but in the process of like making those 100 people not suffer, you create like 1,000 new people like them because of your accommodating policies, then you've actually just increased suffering by 1,000%, right? You haven't actually decreased it in aggregate. And it's the same thing with like immigration. Like, when you have these like open border kind of policies, like, yeah, I guess like once in a while you're letting people in with genuine asylum claims, but you're like enabling this like freaking caravan that goes from South America to here, and like the cartels run it, and they basically are just trafficking people. It's like insane.
Well,
you are.
Last thing on the immigration thing, I think the moral argument is kind of bullshit. Like, because there's just too many incentives on one political party to let these people in that kind of like contradict the moral part, right? Like, so the assumption is that if you let in millions of people from, third world, let's call them just developing nations in general, they're more likely to vote liberal, right? And you can literally redefine the demographics. And it just happens in the United States, you don't have to show an ID in order to vote. And so you can literally tip the scales in the order of millions of people to vote for your party without showing identification. And it seems like pretty straightforward to me. Like, I don't know. The incentives are just too strong to believe that the moral argument is the reason.
What I'm trying to get across is no matter how logically sound what we say is, and as you get older, it becomes more and more clear what is so logically sound. But you talk to anybody in the 2 generations younger than ours, or even just the 1 generation, like, talk to anybody 15 to 25. And they'll just be like, you old conservative fucks with your stupid backwards way of thinking. That's exactly how people think. I guarantee you 80+% of those people are like, this is insane. You help people, you open the door, you don't worry about the bad ones getting in, you have extreme times call for extreme measures. And and don't forget that we all had that phase and thought that way.
Yeah.
And when you face that and you realize that there's a huge cohort of society that thinks that way, that always has this like borderline revolutionary sort of approach and mindset to everything, you realize like we have to deal with these people. These people are running society, are the most productive people in our society. The young kind of have to be listened to at times, but as they get older, they mature and their positions change just like ours did. So it's like, how do you balance the need to be a progressive, forward-thinking country that isn't just like admonishing young people for being dumb and looking at things morally, only speaking, and need to look at it more logically? I don't know, but I'm telling you, a lot of people think that way.
Eric, you're known to kind of like be laissez-faire about elections in general. So do you
Sure.
have a policy topic that's like top of mind for you that,
Yeah, one that I care about that I don't think is really high on the priority list this cycle is entitlements and really just like Social Security. But I don't think that anyone's going to be talking about this for maybe like 12 more years or more. But I see that system breaking. I think everybody kind of does.
like, can you make
I
that
actually
tangible?
think it's probably fine.
Can you make that tangible for me? So like I get that on the surface that it's bad, and it fuels the deficit. It's a significant and growing part of our budget, but like even maybe as an equities investor, like how do you make that tangible to me? Like how does that affect my returns? Is it that like the bond yield rates go up and that affects stock prices, or how does that affect us tangibly?
I don't know. I actually don't know, because like as the debt level increases so far beyond like GDP, like does that actually have an impact? Like it's been getting worse and worse, and I haven't seen any impact. So like, does it just continue going this way and no problems, or does it eventually become a problem? I feel like it probably will. Do you guys have any insight into that?
I mean, like on one hand,
I don't think it's that big of a problem. I think one of the things I like about Trump is that like I think his instincts are generally correct. I think there are some areas where you should like cut spending. Like I think it's cool to like slash the Department of Education or slash random bureaucracies. Like I think there's actually a legitimate reason for that, and you make the market more efficient. I think cutting entitlements is like sucky, and we shouldn't do that. So there are definitely things we should cut, right? But like I also think that the philosophy should be to just juice GDP and grow our way out of it. It shouldn't be to like go like full austerity. Like we have the world reserve currency. Like if we're fucked, everybody else is fucked worse than we are. Like we should go through a 10-year period where we just try to like juice the fuck out of GDP and just tell everybody else like to just suck it.
Are stimmy checks an okay part of that plan?
You know, I'd prefer a little more nuance to it, but like I just don't love this like old school Republican idea of like, oh, we got to cut Social Security and we got to cut welfare, we got to cut all these things.
I just know, I know that the direction that it's going to go is exactly as you're saying, Stephen. It's like we're going to continue digging a deeper hole in terms of debt, and it's fine. I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, money-wise, like crypto is big, and don't you guys think like crypto has become something that actually has like a lot of people that would have otherwise voted for Biden, like questioning their vote?
I mean,
like especially on crypto Twitter,
Yeah.
I think a lot of like crypto people lean left. A lot of not Bitcoiners, but like a lot of crypto people in general.
I want to throw something else on top of that, because we were talking earlier about like you kind of mentioned, oh, people have their mind made up. I actually don't think that's true at all anymore. I think there are actually a ton of people like on the fence, like I might vote for the orange guy. Like I actually think there's like a lot right now. Like we've seen on this pod, like people have been like, yeah, fuck it, I'm in, right? Like I think there's a lot of people who feel that way, and I think crypto is one of those things that is maybe kind of like pushing people over. What do you think about that?
I mean, there's only like 5 or 6 states that matter, right? Because like the rest of the states are pretty decided. So are you saying that there's enough people on the fence in those swing states that literally decide the electoral college that
I just think our mental model that people are just hardened and divided and they're not changing their opinion on Trump actually isn't correct anymore. And I think to his credit, like he realizes that. I actually think he was playing last election for like the polarized game where he was like, the whole point is to be polarized and just drive out my base and just make people hate me. It doesn't matter, right? But then I listened to the All In interview, and he's just like talking like a normal person. Like you didn't listen to it and want to like kill yourself or anything. And like I think he might be pivoting now because he might see that. He might actually see the same reason he's making these overtures to crypto people and other things, because he's like, oh, like actually people are going to maybe come over.
I think you nailed the crypto topic. I think it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago when you were like, oh no, they just realized that it's a way to raise money and they actually don't care about the issue, and they maybe think it's like some people vote on and they see the stats on how many people hold crypto, but like I want these people to donate to us now.
I mean, you see what happened to Jamal Bowman, right? He got shellacked in an election.
I did, but I don't think it's because of crypto.
No, it is like he got like he got there's a huge.
No. Who's Jamal Bowman?
He's the guy who pulled the fire alarm in Congress.
Okay,
and
he's
was like,
one
I
of
don't
the.
know how fire alarms
I forget what they call themselves, but like AOC has like a crew, and they're typically like the far left part of the House of Representatives.
I'm serious. One of the largest donors in that election was like a pro-crypto. Like Bowman was a very anti-crypto candidate.
No, it was AIPAC, which is a historically Jewish-oriented PAC that literally threw like 13 or 14 million dollars into a House primary race, not even like the general election. Like we're talking like one out of hundreds of seats, not in the main election, the primary.
I'm not saying that wasn't a factor, but there were literally millions, which is a lot in a race like this, thrown in from pro-crypto groups against him.
I mean, I think the
This is
biggest
definitely a
takeaway
thing
out
that's
of that
happening.
race wasn't anything crypto. Is that the moderate won over the radical, and I'll take that as a radically moderate win.
Moderates are winning, baby.
Yeah.
I don't think what Trump is doing is that surprising. He already has his base, right? So he had to be very radical the first time he ran, and he had to run on like ideology, basically, and be this like really populist sort of guy. And I think now, to your point, he's realizing that he can actually win a lot more people by just being like a guy that represents more moderate thinking and the things that like what's next. Once you've evangelized like a strong group of people that believe like in, you know, draining the swamp and blah, 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 and all the things that he ran on, that's done. That's locked in. So now it's like, what's next? It's crypto. It's like, no, I'm just trying to give power back to the states. I'm not trying to be this like dictator. And he's like showing people that like he can actually be somewhat presidential, which is, I mean, it's the right play. I think anyone who is smart in his position would probably be doing something similar.
I see his attempt, but I won't believe it until after seeing the highlights from.
But
from
what do you mean by
tomorrow. Like,
believe? Because it's all just made up to get votes, to get power. Like, none of these people believe most of the things that they say.
Right. They're trying to win.
Like, it's just to win.
So can I ask a question about the crypto thing? Because I find this pretty intriguing, right? Like I see crypto Twitter as like the way Armand describes it. You see people who are like flipping over to the side that's like pro crypto. And then it makes me wonder like, well, how big is this cohort? You hear numbers thrown out that there's like 50 million Americans who own crypto. But like how many of these people like vote based on crypto?
Somebody threw out a funny stat on a pod I was listening to, and they were basically like, more Americans own crypto than dogs, and people really like dogs. And like,
yeah, what was that?
because they were talking about
Was that bell curve?
They were talking about
I think it might have
they were
been,
talking
yeah.
about how Kristi Noem had that like weird thing where she talked about how she killed her dog, and like Republicans and Democrats were both like, actually, we both hate you. Go fuck off. Like, it was like the most unifying moment in the country's history, basically.
Yeah, who was that? Was that Vance Spencer on bell curve, maybe, or?
Yeah, it was either on Bell Curve or another Blockwork spot, and somebody else had another take that I thought was interesting. I'm actually curious to get Armand's reaction to this. He said that he thought that Trump was going to be the most unifying president in our lifetime.
Who said that? Who said that?
That's funny.
Somebody on
Okay.
one of the Blockworks pods.
In
I heard
our
it.
lifetime?
I was like, what? But then I thought about it, and I was like,
No,
I
so
can
far.
actually see.
So far, maybe.
Can
I
yeah,
could see that.
Yeah.
Because
No,
people
we're not
wanted
talking about the
Obama
future.
to be the like so far. He did not end up being that, I think, in the end.
No.
But in his campaign cycle, especially the first time, he unified a lot of people. Obama unified the world. I don't know if he unified the country. I can see that though about Trump. I can see that.
I can't see it.
He will always have a huge cohort of people that just straight up hate him and will never respect him.
Right. So like definitionally, like he can't be the unifier. Like, I don't
that
know, he just
definitely exists. Like where some people will just never like him, ever. Do you think that some people will turn the never Trumpers? You think they could actually be like, yeah, not bad, like and be converted?
I think
some people are
can.
vehemently like.
I heard this take, and at first I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But then I thought about it more, and like, I think it has outs. Like, I think there's I see a path for it, especially because like we are coming into the time where it's sort of like the end times of like the turning, right? We got to like blow everything up and rebuild it. Like there is an opportunity. I
There
think,
are
to,
outs. I'll tell you what it is. It's like if he makes us all a lot of money, and he sends crypto to the moon, and the economy comes roaring back, and Nvidia goes, back up to $1,000, and 10x's from here. Everyone's going to be
gives everybody
very
like,
happy.
loans for their first
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
just,
and then cuts taxes and does all these things and makes some jokes and makes people laugh, and there's no fucking hysteria in the streets and no one's trying to start a civil war. Then yeah, I think he could walk away as like a very popular president in the end.
yeah.
But
We
there-
could
there
go
are-
full Roaring 20s again. It's
I don't know if it's that
possible.
soon though. I feel like this turning has more turning to do. Like there's supposed to be more dark times ahead before we.
But
we
we're
turn.
in the fourth turning. We're like
Yeah.
right in the middle of it. So
Yeah.
there's like, I think.
So
light
your
at the end of
question
the
is
tunnel.
your proposal is he could potentially be the beginning of the next turning.
Ushering us out of
Ushering
the
it
fourth
out.
turn.
Yeah, like I think we have a chance as a country. This is why like the current administration drives me fucking nuts, because like I see this like crossroads that we're at, and we have this ability to pivot and do all these like interesting things, not just for, like political policy, but like economically or for energy or whatever, just the general philosophical direction we take the country, and we're just dropping balls all over the place.
Yeah.
And like when I hear him talking about like enforcing the border, no more, don't start World War III, you know, and just like enforcing crime again, like all these things that like should not have been like controversial that have suddenly become like political topics. It doesn't make any sense. And I feel like we can fix these things, and I feel like everybody could get rich. AI takes off. AI gets used in like in freaking biotech, and they start doing crazy shit. Everybody gets younger and richer and better looking, and then like everybody's like happy because everybody's
Yeah.
like young, rich, and good looking, right?
I think that's more like 15 years.
I'm not
personally.
saying, I'm not saying it's definitely
no,
gonna
just
happen,
personally,
but-
personally, I think like there's a couple more presidential cycles before we enter that roaring 20s phase. Just
Well,
personally speaking.
can I-
But I enjoyed this, by the way. We haven't talked politics in a long time.
Yeah, we haven't dug deep into it. Sometimes
Yeah.
people think it's boring, but
No, I personally like. It's been a long time, so it was good.
let's get the chat involved before we switch topics. So Benjamin Meadows says this recent Armand is so apathetic. Crypto is a sham. Pollux is a sham. And he
Nihilism Shaw.
gives a smiley face as like a wink, wink to you, Armand.
Keeping
Okay.
you on your toes, buddy.
Pilgard says, I think Bukele has a different opinion on changing as much as possible on day. So does Malay. Benjamin Meadows also says, what about the idea that American politicians owe it to America to protect them and watch out for their best interests first? Their responsibility as representatives, not to the world first, but to their constituents, American citizens. Vibes is talking about the immigration process. Says there's a process. It's obvious the process is now being exploited, and for illegal immigrants that went through the right channels and contribute to GDP with specialized jobs, it's a slap in the face. We got Adam reminding us that it's the squad that this representative you mentioned and AOC are a part of.
The squad.
Corby brings up a good point. The discussion on moderate Trump. Have we followed him on True Social? All his posts post felony and before are crazy. Maybe we
Because he only
think
speaks to his base there.
That's
Maybe we
because
think
he's-
Trump
that's
is
because
normal.
He's good at speaking to his audience.
He's
and
speaking to
who's
his
on
audience.
Truth Social?
His
Are you on Truth Social?
no, his raving fans.
Yeah, lunatics are on Truth
But maybe
Social. So
we're-
he just talks like a lunatic there.
we're not part of that. So maybe we think he's just like better now because he's not posting on
That's
Twitter
what I'm
anymore. We're
trying
not
to say
seeing the
when he goes
outlandishness.
on one podcast or another.
Getting nuked from Twitter was the best thing that ever happened to him. By the
Guy
way,
is a politician. They're all politicians. Eric's. I know. Eric's thinking the same thing. He's like,
I just want to know what's happened to
Guys-
the Truth Social stock price. What happened to that?
Oh my god.
I want to know why Tensky said I've never been to the Midwest. What does that mean? What did
I don't
say
know,
about
but
the
Corby
Midwest?
also agrees.
I don't know.
Whatever you
Everybody's like,
said.
plus
you
20.
said something
What did I
very.
say?
You said something very non-Midwesty.
I did.
I don't know.
What did I say?
Whatever it
Tensky, what
was.
did I say?
All right, I got one more love from the chat. We got
Oh.
Feech.
Feech
Donated,
donated
$69.69. Love you long
Oh my God,
time.
is there a voice action?
Love you long time.
Thanks,
Oh,
Feech.
love you
Yeah.
long time.
Wait,
Feech.
what is our voice?
I don't know. I picked like a generic like man
should get, like,
voice.
Pick the Scarlett Johansson
AI.
Could
AI.
have like a
Oh.
British accent. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want the sky.
Oh yeah.
Scarlet.
Maybe we can contract with Scarlett. But anyway, Feech, thank you. That might come straight back to you in the honey fund. All right, so let's go on to our next topic. I don't know, Armand, you want to pull up this this article? We're not gonna like
Good.
dive into it, but the headline is
70%.
is important. Wait, which one is that?
This might not be
Oh
it.
yeah, I forgot RFK is doing his
that's not
own
it?
side debate tomorrow. He's
Oh.
just like answering. He's just answering the questions like on his own. I think.
God, I mean, like, dude,
That's kind of embarrassing.
it's kind of sad. I don't like it.
I like it.
Yeah, I want to talk about AI and
I'll
energy
take the other
usage.
side.
Armand, is that
Yeah.
okay? So you guys might have seen it in some of the narratives in the stock market if you follow it day to day. But like one of the big topics is how the AI industry is going to consume a massive amount of energy. So right now, I think data centers consume about 2% of our
Very
total
flexible.
energy
Yeah.
consumption. And is that an ad?
Sorry, I'm a little distracted.
I'm just distracted by the ad. Just the girl in yoga pants. doing
That's see.
backflips.
There's some things that you only get by watching the video. So sorry if you missed that. But
First of all, Armand, people say don't respond to ads, but God bless you because, like, they are
I
out
am
there.
ready to talk about yoga, not nuclear.
Anyway, there's some articles out there that talk about how the AI data center usage in particular is going to maybe double or triple the amount of energy needed to power these large language models. And if you think about like training ChatGPT is one, but also if you think about if every Google search has some kind of AI component to it, the amount of energy used is an order of magnitude higher. So I don't know. I found some basic data points. So right now, data centers consume about 75 terawatts. That's 2% of our total data usage. Projections look like it'll either double to triple. So we're talking about anywhere from another 75 to 150 terawatts of energy needed. As like a benchmark, one nuclear plant can generate about 8 terawatts annually, and that's if it's running continuously. So we're talking about 10 to 20 nuclear plants worth of energy to be able to power what these AI data centers
It's just
need.
for data center?
Just for AI. Like,
Wow. That's fucking massive.
it's pretty massive. And so the tailwinds are you have like increased demand of this energy usage. On the other hand, you have efficiency coming in play, and against it, you have also these sustainability goals, right? These big Fortune 500 companies have these sustainability goals they need to meet that they set for themselves. And so, the article we showed up earlier talks about how the AI industry is pushing a nuclear power revival, partly to fuel itself. So Sam Altman, they talk about how Sam Altman invested in a nuclear energy project. And there's another article that talked about Microsoft and OpenAI, lighting up a new data center in order to fuel all these NVIDIA GPUs, essentially. And they're going to park it next to a nuclear power plant, potentially. And just the sheer raw amount of energy that needs to be created to power this is pretty high. Like we're talking about anywhere from another 2 to 4% of energy. So anyway, I'm curious what you guys are initial thoughts on this, and I'd like to maybe shy the conversation towards ways to make money off this potentially.
Let's just go straight to the money, because I think one of the interesting
now we're talking.
one of the interesting byproducts of this is so I've been like kind of taking a break from trading this summer. I bought some Ethereum for the ETF thing, but I've been trying not to like put on like all these positions. But like a few weeks ago, I was, and it was in our little Magic Lines channel. I was talking about how Eric, you remember Hut,
Sure
Bitcoin
do.
miner? I was like, man, this Hut chart looks really, really, really good. And apparently Bernie bought a bunch of calls or something.
I
So
also did too.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice job,
so
guys.
the chart looked really good, and Hut, which is a Bitcoin miner, has just been pumping like crazy. And I was like, what is going on here? And then I looked into it more, and apparently like these Bitcoin miners, because they're producing so much energy to mine Bitcoin, some of them have now been able to pivot and offload some of that energy to basically fuel the AI GPU craze. So they
Right.
have this like other revenue source now coming
Demand.
out that like people weren't aware of before. So some of these stocks are like they're like roofing.
So
not all of them.
So
but-
it's only
but
the
some of them.
ones that decided to pivot to like put their machines towards
But
AI.
it's fascinating because you have an industry that is like evolved into find what is the cheapest energy source possible because they're facing these like block rewards that have every 4 years, so their cost of goods sold is essentially like energy, and how do you get it cheaper? So now they could potentially get rewarded for it in this entirely new demand source, which is like who's got the cheapest
God.
energy. Surprise, surprise, these Bitcoin miners, that's all they think about.
That's fascinating, by the way, because the NVIDIA narrative also wasn't designed to be AI focused. It was like gaming first, and then it became Bitcoin mining, and then ultimately now it's AI. And it's funny to see the Bitcoin miners go through that same.
I mean, Carby said some of these companies have become, they're like acquisition targets now because of like the power infrastructure they've set up, which I think is like super interesting. Like, it's just some of this stuff you'd never be able to predict. Like,
I guess
you'd never be able to predict like 4 years ago, like, Facebook might acquire Riot because of their efficient like power infrastructure to fuel GPU.
Right, but it wouldn't be like, so those like, look, I don't have enough industry specific knowledge, but like, don't those guys like have a bunch of ASIC miners like on racks themselves? So it's hard to like repurpose that.
It's not that they're repurposing like the chips. It's like they need power to fuel the chips, right? Because the whole thing about Bitcoin mining is you have to very efficiently get power at a very low cost.
Yeah.
That I think is the thing that's like super valuable, is like the infrastructure they've set up for like the super cheap electricity.
You have infrastructure, you have like just institutional knowledge about where to set these things up. I mean, there's been other Bitcoin miners that have like, we're going to set up near Niagara Falls because like water, there's going to be hydro powered and will be the cheapest in the future. So I think on an old Irresponsibly Long, you guys had talked about, some Bitcoin miners do well because they hold on to their Bitcoin. They don't necessarily sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Some do well because, excuse me, they
lowest cost to produce.
So like, I think the next analysis would be which of these Bitcoin miners is the lowest cost to produce. And just to talk about the price action on HUD 8, I mean, on days the stock market was going down, this thing is like up, multiple percentage points.
I want to like
in one day it went up like 22%.
It's up like 100%.
That's
since
fascinating.
I made the post.
They had like a press release where they got some kind of like convertible note financing that was like, we're gonna like give HUD 8 this money to pivot and serve some of these AI data center energy needs. So, yeah, I mean, that's like the easiest low-hanging fruit.
It's a really fun one. I think there's like, okay, the way that I think about this in general, so I get that we're going to have this like energy demand spike, but that's sort of a second order consequence. Like I'd rather just play the first order. Like I'd still want to just be in the semiconductors, and particularly the guys who are like alongside NVIDIA, not necessarily the competition to NVIDIA, but the ones who help increase the efficiency of the data center. And like, there's so many companies that play a role. There's so many like very intricate components that go into these data centers, and I'm on all of them. I'm like interested in all of them.
You got any names, or are you still honing down the names?
I do have. I don't want to like speak too soon because I haven't done the full vetting. But
okay, so not financial advice, not any kind of advice.
Okay, which one did we just buy? And we bought it. And it's like up 60% since we bought it. It's Credo, CRDO.
Oh, yeah.
You on that?
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
Must be nice, guys.
Would you buy it at like 22, 23?
Yeah, below. Maybe 20, 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah, so these guys focus on like energy efficiency, right? Cooling systems, that kind of thing.
They are on the optical cables.
Okay.
So it's like being able to transfer the data with very low latency, high throughput. I think that's the name of the game. Cooling the data centers is interesting.
So that's, I only know the ticker, ECL. So they actually specialize in like environmental kind of like infrastructure. And one thing they know very well is water. And so one of the main service lines they have is how do you efficiently use water to cool data centers? And, the research that needs to be done is like, is that business unit big enough to like move the company's like profit and stock price? I don't know the answer to that question, but like it showed up in one of the filters.
Yeah, I think if the energy demand increases to the degree they think it is, that means that there's still quite a bit of runway left in this semiconductor cycle, which means that cooling is going to be needed, and like it just means the whole runway is longer than we think. The one that you sent me is a Swedish company called Munters.
Oh,
Munters?
that one. So first of all, I texted Eric like 3 months ago. I'm like, hey, I want to like buy the stock Munters. I can't find it in my thing. Is it available on Interactive Brokers?
I, as usual, didn't respond to the text. I never respond to text.
He responded 2 months later. He responded 2 months later.
2 months later, I'm like, oh yeah, it is available. I bought some. I don't.
Everything is on Interactive Brokers now.
Yeah. Anyway,
So you can,
Everything.
you can trade the Swedish Stock Exchange. It's cool.
Such
Yeah.
an interesting case study of like the worst UI UX of all time, but like people like the product.
Yeah, it's the best.
I hate the UI.
Terrible.
That's the
Terrible
worst.
UI though.
Worst.
Isn't this just like mega bullish like uranium?
I think that's
I
like
know
a
people
simple
are
word, but-
already
Yeah.
bullish uranium, but isn't it just like written in the stars at this
I
point?
think so.
All right, I got
Just
an,
power.
I like that. I got another one. Actually, ticker symbol power PWR.
Ticker
there-
symbol power?
PWR.
Sold.
I've been like watching this one for a while. I think the company's called Quanta Services, and they, in particular, service all the public utilities. Right. So when the public utilities need to build out electrical power infrastructure, they don't do it themselves. Right.
Yeah.
They contract it out to a company like Quanta Services, and they actually build out, you know, whether it's generators or whatever it is. So their demand is far exceeds their you know, capacity, and the stock price is still up massively. Like if you look at the chart, it's a no-brainer. This thing's going up, and like even though it's going up, I still think I want to be a part of it long term.
I like this. I like
You get the
I like
infrastructure
going
bill.
outside of just semiconductors and data centers because we just need more power.
Right,
You
so,
build more like everything involved in that. We're going to build like an incomprehensible amount of power infrastructure.
And it obviously got a big boost like in Texas when they were having infrastructure problems. Like it was a big beneficiary of that, of their problems and helping them build out their grid. And so, you know, I don't know to what extent they'll benefit from this, but you know, if you listen to the CEO on the analyst calls, he's just kind of like, you can't see him, but you can just tell he's like smiling as he's talking the whole earnings call. He's just like, hey, everything's great, you know, like.
I think what's most interesting about this whole thing to me at like sort of like a societal level is this is the first time where you've aligned like all of the biggest, best, like most epic companies in the world around the idea of like generating infrastructure for cheaper electricity. Like Facebook or Amazon, like, yeah, like electricity is like an input cost for them. It's important, but like not like it is now. Like now it's like everything. So it's going to be super interesting to see what happens when you take Facebook and Apple and Amazon. All these megacorps are like incentivized to like drive the cost of like electricity down. Like
What could
like
happen?
it could be like a super unseen, like unforeseen kind of epic consequence for humanity. Like
Fusion.
the idea that like what AI actually does is it like gives us like infinite energy. Like that's actually the thing that happens. Like AI goes nowhere, but in the process of like building all of the infrastructure to like for the geos that we like accidentally do cold fusion.
Is this like when they overbuild broadband 10x? So we overbuild in anticipation that AI is going to like need all this energy, but you know it doesn't. But the byproduct is we all have cheaper energy.
Yeah, like we just have like free electricity and just infinite energy. It'd be we build a Dyson sphere around the sun.
Accidentally.
I like this
That's
timeline.
great.
I'm for it, and I think you're right, man. Like that you get those big companies with massive balance sheets, and you don't necessarily need, you know, they're probably the most patient capital that you could probably find to build some actual.
They all just become energy companies at the end of the day.
Yes.
I think Berkshire's got a slew of energy companies in its portfolio too.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is interesting. You guys had like, it's an anecdote basically of a Stargate, 5 gigawatt Stargate AI data center by Microsoft and OpenAI, $100 billion.
Sounds cheap. 100 billion?
It'll be potentially launched
Gosh.
by 2028. I mean, crazy. Crazy.
I mean, Armand, you know more about AI than all of us, but like one of the things I've been thinking about is
I
like
literally know nothing.
right now the
Good.
energy,
We love the humility.
yeah, thank you. The energy is intense because we're training these models.
Yeah.
But like, is it going to be as intense in 2028 when this data center is ready?
That's
Like,
the most interesting conversation for me. I'm not so sure about the how to make money off the what you guys just discussed, like all of the energy needs. I think that's really cool and interesting. I'm bad at picking those individual stocks, as I know you also agree, Nick. Sometimes that's hard to do, but philosophically speaking and technically speaking, there's a debate that might be the case, that we're overdoing it, and that actually all of the investment and capital is flowing toward the foundational models, when really what's probably going to happen is that they are not as energy intensive as we think, and they start to become more readily available. More open source models will be available. People will have personal models that they can run, and you'll have all different types of LLMs for various reasons, and personal LLMs, and you'll have applications that run on top of these, and the applications will do a lot of the work that you need to do in your job or in your personal life, and then applications will take care of a lot of this, and that will have core models that take care of most of what we need. Now, of course, these models need to continue training. They need to continue to be a lot of it right now is like human reinforcement. Actually, one of our investors, Invisible, their venture arm, Visionary Ventures, does all of the AI training for OpenAI and Amazon and Google, and that's where a lot of the needs are right now. It's the combination of like human and AI foundational model training. But I think when we get past that to a certain point, the needs are going to change. I don't know exactly what they're going to be, and I don't think anybody does. I think anyone that did would place their bet in those areas, and people are continuing to place their bets in the thing that they've seen work. But I think that might be flawed thinking, and nobody knows. Is it going to be more like an infrastructure thing? Is it going to be more like we should invest in the chips and different types of chips, like Sam Altman's chips, or chips that are coming out of the Emirates and other chip competitors to NVIDIA? Or is it that these applications are actually what's going to drive humanity forward? And the same way that apps spawned out of the iPhone and were a revolution, are the apps that spawn out of the LLMs the revolution?
right.
Again, these are the questions that people are asking.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could rely on us to overinvest and create a bubble in it, but as in like the margin call movie, maybe that's why
We
you
will.
pay the
And
big
that's
bucks to
that's
know when the music
best
stops.
part. You want this overinvestment, and you want a bubble, actually, sometimes, because incredible innovations and platforms will be born out of that. Like Netscape Navigator didn't make it. You know, a lot of .coms didn't make it. Like as you often talk about, Eric, like when you first got started trading, but like the Googles and the Facebooks and all of that happened as a result of it. So like we don't know what those companies are going to be yet. I could totally see OpenAI completely failing.
Yeah, and Google and Facebook, for instance, they were created after the bubble popped.
Correct.
You know, the bubble formed, then it popped, and then those things were created.
Yeah. So who knows? But I do think that we probably it's funny because like I think on the one hand we are over investing and it's a bubble for sure, but on the other hand I think that we still continue to underestimate the impact of AI overall at large on what it's doing societally speaking. Because if you look at all the previous revolutions, and they all seem to happen technologically in like these 15 years like windows, where it's like .com and then like mobile.
Yep.
And then now we have AI, and I think that each one has been bigger than the last. So, and if we are in the singularity, which I think we are, then what the hell does that mean? Like back to your earlier point, Stephen, it's like, dude, we could wake up in 5 years and like a lot of the genetic diseases and issues that we have physically could start to get eradicated. I think the first area you start to see like AI just make like a huge change is medically, like, you know, prevention and diagnostics medically, and the applications that are built. And that's like old machine learning that was before generative AI. Like my buddy Serge has been working on that stuff for like 8-9 years. And now those companies are going to finally really be able to like step in and precision medicine and all of the things that are possible as a result of that. So I don't know. I think we underestimate the impact sometimes, but we'll see.
All right, so let's see what the chat has to say about this topic. Corby says CLSK is now using water submersion to cool its mining rigs. Vibe says we need more transformers, especially step-down transformers. I was told that's a concern for future electricity infrastructure. Corby says, such a good point, Stephen. And we don't know what point that is because you make so many good points. But I imagine it's...
guys, stop.
I imagine it's...
King of the good points.
Stop.
King of the good points. I imagine it's the one about, when you have Fang aligning with our sustainability energy goals. That'd be amazing. He also mentions we need a meme coin called nuclear. Let's see. I haven't read these ones, but Adam Snyder says, Stephen's theory of infinite energy as an unintended byproduct of AI is a surprisingly beautiful one. Corby says, Armand, recent researchers are training GPT competitors on fractional amounts of energy requirements.
Yeah.
Read an article to the tune of running an LLM on the power needed for a light bulb.
Yeah.
So dig into that. If you're
Even like
interested,
what Apple's going to do on the phone is such a good example of that. Like how most of this is going to be run locally.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Tunsky has responded to your Midwestern thing. He talks about people looking better part. I live 30 minutes from a place without cell service. And Stephen was talking about AI taking off for the country. Not in farmland Midwest. We don't even have internet
I saw
everywhere.
that. I gave this like hopeful message about how we might all rise, and he was like, "LOL, never been to the Midwest. We're fucked." He just totally rejected it. So I mean, whatever, man. Call me an optimist.
All right, and the most important question from the chat right now is Eric, are you at the blue line yet?
Where line?
Dude, we have a
Let's
clock
see.
running
Where
here.
line?
I'm getting pretty close, boys.
Oh my God, he's gonna do it.
Wow.
I feel a little bit of a
Tingle?
storm brewing. So let's move this along, please.
All right.
I just realized I made this cocktail res for. I thought the pod ended like an hour later than.
What time did you make the res for?
I made it for 7.
Oh, we're not going to make 7.
I just realized
We
that.
can make 7.
Do we?
We usually end at 7.
Well, we could just end early.
I literally
We've
put a
never
clock
done-
on the podcast.
We haven't
now.
done less than an hour and a half in a long time.
No. We have another topic.
We're not doing it today.
Oh, we have a great topic.
Yeah.
It's literally the title of the pod.
And so
Let's show the people some cereal and take
shout
it
out
home.
to our sponsor Metamucil after Eric's. No, take it back. It's Magic Spoon. So go ahead and check out magicspoon.com/alfalfa. Yeah, it's your grain-free cereal. Tastes great. Got 0 grams of total sugars, 4 grams of net carbs, 13
box.
grams of protein in every serving. Looks like 140 calories if you can just stick yourself to one serving. We mentioned before, Stephen. Oh, you got a new box.
Fresh box.
Freshie.
I just found a
Fresh-
box behind my
Freshie.
chair.
Fresh box.
I know.
Wow.
A happy day.
Okay.
What
well,
flavor do you got there?
Peanut butter.
Can you please point the microphone away from your
Nope.
That's ASMR.
snacking? ASMR? No. Okay. Wow. Yeah, we like it straight out of the box, folks. But you can try it any way you like. What flavor you got there, sir?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
It
Oh,
tastes
peanut
like
butter is part of the variety pack. Okay, so cocoa fruity, the peanut butter, as aforementioned, and frosted, part of the variety pack. If you go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa, use the code alfalfa, you get $5 off the variety
Comes
pack.
with a free crossword puzzle on the back of the box.
Oh, did not
We
notice
lost
that.
Armand for the next 20 minutes.
Armand's leading this next topic since my mother watches this podcast.
No, I got nothing to say about this.
No, you have plenty to say. One of you, actually, particularly 2 of you, instigated this topic. So, Steve and Armand, why don't you take it away?
We need to talk about it, okay?
Okay, talk about it.
Are we gonna play the whole video, or do we just assume people know what we're talking about?
We're
at
going to
this point?
assume they know what we talk.
We know. All right.
Wait,
if
we
you-
have to play the 10-second clip.
Yeah, do you have it dialed up?
No.
Let's get it.
I was hoping you did.
Oh my god, my stomach.
Shit, we don't have it. All right, you
I should
you
also
start.
probably stop eating the cereal while I talk. Stop. So a lovely girl captivated our hearts, the hearts of all the internet, in the last week. Hawke, Tuah girl.
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing that right?
I don't know. You
Hawke
care to give
to
like
it.
a physical demonstration? Because I'm not sure what you mean by that.
After my car accident, I wondered what my case was worth. So I
Don't mind me. I'm just trying to find
Parenthesis-
it.
oh.
No, see, like every time you play it, everyone listening hears that, so you got to kind of
Oh,
like,
they do?
yeah, yeah,
I got to pick right.
yeah. You got to pick it right.
Okay, I know what to do.
What do you got it?
Oh, let's see.
To,
Let's see how good Armand's skills are. Sleuthing
Hi-
skills.
Hi, techie.
Okay, we don't like that. Yep, found it.
Is that it?
Doesn't look like it.
9 seconds. This is all
Okay,
you
yeah.
need.
Nice
Okay, here we
second.
go.
All right,
This is
damn.
it. Ready?
One move in bed that makes a man go crazy.
Hold on.
One move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time.
Oh,
That
you
do.
gotta give him that Hawke too and spit on that thing. You get me?
No, man. Hop to it. Spit on that thing. What an incredible charmer. Like,
You
so
call
much
that charm? Yeah.
That's charming.
Okay.
That's Southern charm right there.
Yeah, why? I'm more curious. Like, why
One
did
move in
everybody
bed
fall in
that
love
makes
with
a
this
man go crazy every time.
more
Oh,
That
you
do.
gotta give him that Hawke too and spit on that thing. You get me?
Her friend is like, oh shit.
Yeah, this went so viral. Like, this was touching every timeline.
I could not get away from this.
Yeah.
Like everything I touched, like this came up. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything go so viral so fast.
Why was this such a big deal?
People want a little moisture.
No, it's deeper than that, I think. But
I
but
think,
also,
I think people just saw this as like an opportunity to be like, you know,
You know,
You know,
you
a little
know.
moisture goes a long way.
a little moisture, a little enthusiasm.
A little enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is rule number 1, 2, and 3. That's all it takes, honestly. Is a little enthusiasm.
that's what all it is
Oh.
for you.
It's 1, 2,
I
and
mean,
3.
I think her accent
Accent,
was
attitude.
huge.
Accent was definitely
Um,
plus points.
I think she's attractive. That always helps in anything.
I
in
think it was
life.
actually like a Goldilocks zone of being like attractive, but not too
Enough.
attractive.
Yeah, she was like kind of girl next door.
Yeah.
Attractive.
If you're
Good,
too,
talk to
good
it.
observation.
okay, yeah.
Funny. Like my wife was like, she's funny. That was
Yeah.
the first thing she said. I was like, what do you think of this? She's like, that was funny. I was like, okay, that's not what I expected.
Yeah, if she was super hot, like unreasonably hot, it would have been like
it would
weird.
be too.
People be hating
It
on
would
her.
have been like a
Yeah.
strange vibe.
Yeah,
People
like-
would have hated that.
like
People
other
would've liked
girls
it.
would have hated her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's just like some girl from Mississippi, and people like that. She's America, so it went globally viral because I think, globally speaking, people love the Southern accent. Like
That's
the
so
Southern
true.
accent is like when you go abroad, people think like, "Oh, you're not like a white cowboy. You're not American." I'm like, "I'm American." They're like, "No, you don't
No,
have
yeah.
that accent."
Right.
I'm like, that's like not the country, and they don't get. So people love that. They love because to them, cowboy America,
I want Texas.
Texas, Mississippi, Missouri,
or you surf,
you know,
right? Because you're
or
from
yeah,
California.
there's that
Oh,
version,
yeah.
which is America to people. So that I think caused it to go more viral. But there's some deeper things probably. There's some deeper things going on.
Go Von deeper for me, Stephen.
I thought I hadn't thought about the attractiveness one, but like I think there's like
She's the
actually
right
something
level.
into that. Yeah, you can be too hot.
Totally.
You can be too hot.
Yeah, you can intimidate
What's that
people.
like, Stephen?
You can intimidate people.
As a woman, you can be too hot.
Yeah, I think that was it. We were teasing something when we were prepping yesterday. What was that? It'll come to me. But I think there's honestly, genuinely, I do think like it's sexual. Like I think that gets people going. Like it's like she's not talking about it, but she's talking about it.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, you gotta Hawke to it on that thing. Like, you know, it's like
Yeah,
she's
it's-
talking about
it's
it, but
not-
she's not
And it's not too
really
serious.
talking about
Yeah.
it. Like she's not being vulgar. She's not being, you know. But also that's like pretty aggressive. Like that's like cartoonish level of spit.
yeah.
That's like a lot.
Big
like,
question, did
I
they
said
s-
I want a little, but she went like, you know, hot to it. Like that's like she's got like phlegm. Like she like went for it, which is like a lot. So I think that made people like, whoa, okay, like calm down. Like, you know, get a little bit, but not too much. Like
People were just like they were like, oh, she's delightful.
she is delightful.
She's delightful, and
Yeah.
not just because of the sexual stuff.
But the undertone, people love the undertone of
A sexual
little
undertone
sexual
that's playful
tension.
but without being vulgar.
Yeah.
Like too vulgar. Because I was thinking, didn't we share like a couple episodes ago? We shared a clip of like some woman who like spread her butt cheeks in front of her classroom or something, and it's like, and that's like, no, too much. Like, so you gotta like find the Goldilocks.
Yeah. But what causes something to go that level of viral?
Because it tweaks something that everybody's feeling that nothing else has really tweaked. So when it tweaks it, everybody's like, yes, this is it. And everybody wants to, because it's like, it's speaking to something, right? So I think it's like interesting. It's like, this is tweaking some like intersection of like stuff that like men like and want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just about the sexy time stuff.
What is it about?
There's like multiple layers here. I think Eric nailed one of them. Like there's an element of like she seems fun, right? She seems like
so giving.
It's like attractive, but like
Enthusiastic.
not intimidatingly so. And also I also think like if your woman is like extraordinarily hot, there's always like a voice in your head that's just like, she's like way hotter than me. Like she's too hot for me. Like
This bitch is too hot.
Like and it creates like, well, you just, I think like part of you is like, you're like worried about it. You're like you want like an element of security, an element of fun, an element of like a little bit of danger. There's a little bit of danger there.
Yeah.
She's funny, right? And then
Sex.
The physics.
I think that we've been also sort of like, there's also this like sexual repression and sexual like omission happening with like younger generation, right? That we've like talked about many times on the pod. So I think like people have become like the sexual aspect I think is more important than we're giving it. It's like everyone's paying attention to sex and like, porn addictions are at an all-time high, but like people aren't actually having sex. And so I think like her just talking about actually doing it as a young girl and like the way she does it and how she's being fun and giving about it just kind of gets people all jolly. Like, it's like, okay, like there's a girl that, women that still like talk that way and feel that way. And it's not like, what are you going to do for me? I think there's something there for sure.
people just like her personality.
Yeah.
No,
you
she's
think-
not like some stereotypical porn star. You're not seeing like some
OnlyFans
and
girl.
yet, in spite of that, see, men do care about like non-physical things. Men do care about personality. I think she touched people for the personality. They saw like a glimpse of something they love.
I agree with that.
You know, not even all that to do with like her looks. There's a lesson in there.
Yeah.
Do you think the vulnerability aspect plays at all? Like, I mean, she's like giving up a significant part of her personal life of like her intimate behaviors. Does
Hope
that
that
like
she was drunk. She probably didn't plan on
But does
doing
that make you like her more? Like
Yeah, I
usually,
think you could tell it was authentic. I think.
So authentic, yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Very endearing. Endearing authenticity. I hope she's okay, by the way.
There was a rumor she got fired. She's a teacher, apparently.
Oh,
She's a teacher.
There's a rumor she got fired, but apparently it was false.
Oh, that was the worst profession she could possibly be. Like, could there be a worse profession for her than
I
like
wanted to, I was thinking about
high
that
school
one.
teacher, middle school teacher?
Like whether or not she got fired, I was thinking in my brain, like, well, is that a fireable offense? Like, I don't know.
Well, no, she didn't do anything at work, but people will still fire you because you went viral and famous, and now they have to deal with you, and you're known for talking about that.
If you become like this disruptive element in our school, then that is a problem.
Yeah. Apparently that was debunked, that she didn't get fired, but I don't know.
So she's on-
Getting fired
I've
would be the
not done a
best thing
deep
that could
dive
ever
on
happen to
Tuah
her
Girl.
because somebody would just launch like a GoFundMe and she'd raise like $6 million.
She's on the traditional viral sensation money making arc. So merch launched within like 12 hours. So she's selling merch.
Is
she's
she,
selling
though?
merch?
Because I
Yes.
heard she also deleted her socials.
I mean, probably would do that as well, right? Because you don't want people like, finding you personally and where you live. But yeah, merch is being sold. She's part of it, and so that's the first part of the traditional arc. And then I don't know, maybe it ends in like a OnlyFans confessional. I don't know,
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
You guys think it was like too much to say something like that in any way?
If if you're her dad,
If
maybe.
you're her dad, yeah. If you're her
By the
dad,
way,
are you ashamed?
all the memes out of this thing, the dad memes are the best. I actually put one in the card. If you're like a Succession fan, we don't even need to like play the
love
audio.
Succession.
Yeah, I
Let's
love
see this.
Succession so much, but like the dad memes win them all. Go ahead and expand that full screen. You don't even need to play the audio. I don't even know if there is audio on this. Yeah.
So what's happening right now?
It says Hawke Tuah's girl's dad after seeing the 100th Hawke Tuah meme on the timeline.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I missed
Yeah.
the caption.
I needed some context.
Oh, okay.
Just watching
Yeah.
a guy have an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Howard Stern was like, that was every dad's worst nightmare.
This is such an interesting like duality of man thing because everybody's like, "This is great." Also, I hate this.
Right.
Depending on the
Absolutely.
context.
What's that like, Armand? To like, I love this, and also I have a daughter, and I hate this.
It's exactly as you
Sounds like
said.
voices in your head
That's-
going at it right now,
it's
huh?
Exactly that. It's like, it's terrible. Yeah.
There's like conflict.
I think like, I can't even.
Yeah, it's that
I can't
level.
even comment about this.
Is this the first time you ever had that like father old you conflict?
I think
like,
so.
The first time there was a voice in your head that went like, "Wait a minute."
I think so, because it's like she's being cool, she's being funny. People do this, like it's something people do. So I believe in honesty. I believe in like. I don't like sexual repression, just objectively speaking. I have no idea how old she is, by the way. I'm assuming she's, I don't know, 25. I have no idea, right? So assuming she's like at least in her 20s or something, like this is something people do. You obviously don't want you don't want like a teenager talking like this. That would be like terrible and difficult but then there's the reality that like, how many people did you know that were losing their virginity at like 15, 16, 14 years old? Like a lot of people. That's uncomfortable. That's very uncomfortable once you have a child. But when you're that age, you're just like, are you getting laid? Yeah, I'm getting laid. Why aren't you getting laid? And you're just like literally 16 years old and waiting until you get laid, or you already are, and you're looking at your friends and like trying to figure it out. But you look at like someone at that age right now, and you're just like, what the hell? That's a child.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's
Disgusting.
gross. It's gross, right?
So disgusting.
It's gross. But you were the one going to prom at 18 and being like, I better get laid by
I'm going
18.
to college
you
soon.
know?
I better figure this out before
Yeah,
I jump
yeah,
to college.
exactly. But I think that conversation has changed because apparently like 25% are not.
Whoa.
So I don't think it's like how it used to be in like American Pie, where like, you're getting laid by senior prom. I don't think that's a goal anymore, even for a huge percentage of people. I don't know where I'm going. I have no idea.
I feel like you're avoiding. Your brain is like, I don't want
It's
to
a
think
lot.
about this.
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
don't wanna.
I don't blame him.
procrastinating.
I don't blame him. I don't even want to like
don't
put
wanna
myself
think
in his
about it.
You
shoes
just
right now and
you
think
just
about it.
danced around the thought.
I don't like the idea of my children, my daughter, like even hearing my opinion on this in 15 years. I can't have an opinion on this. I'm just like, what is my opinion? It's like, I don't want to have an opinion on like people and their like sexual behavior. It's terrible.
It is weird that like so many things that you've said are actually just immortalized in posterity
is.
now. Like
It is. Don't remind
your daughter someday will be able to just,
Look on the Chronicles.
and she'll have AI to be able to be like, show me.
But a lot of that like is just my personality, and it's like I don't think it's going to change.
Right.
Probably
won't.
still will be that way.
Do you think
You
she's
know?
gonna think you're cringe, but like her friends will be like, "Oh, your dad's so cool." She'll be like, "No, stop it."
I mean, I guess all kids are like that. Yeah.
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 All right, we got 8 minutes to like hit this cocktail hour reservation because
Oh, we're still trying to make that.
maybe I don't know. Let's see what the chat says. In my opinion, it went so viral because the best memes are about topics rarely discussed, but very understandable and relatable. Those vibes. K. Scott says, "Heard she got fired from her teaching position. Sad."
Yeah.
Kevin thinks that sounds a little made up, maybe like a little staged situation. Tunsky says maybe she'll start OnlyFans. Instant Rich. Just teach people how to Hawke Tuah. Let's see. Yeah, the source that said she got fired was from a satire article assigning her as a preschool teacher. Okay, yeah, we're getting deep into the
Epstein.
You know what I
Day School.
really
Epstein
think,
Day
Steven?
School.
I think that, and this is like the thing I don't want to say. I think that the reason beyond the charm, the looks, being at the right level, and all the other things we discussed, I kind of alluded to it in the beginning. She said something that when it becomes an opportunity to share a message on a loudspeaker that you wish people knew. And I think men wish that women knew that they wanted a little moisture.
And that's it.
Genuinely what I think. Like, I think she actually does have a secret weapon. The question was like, what do you do? What was the exact question? It's like, what's your little
One
like
secret in bed.
What's
yeah.
your secret in bed? And I think everyone like, yeah.
So every guy from
Yes.
their non-Twitter accounts went reshare.
Because
And then
because if anyone has ever been in that position and it's just like dry, they want to get out of that situation. They don't want to be in that situation. And I think that they wish that she could tell them, please, Hawke Tuah on that thing.
yeah, let's not make it any more complicated.
Marty nailed it.
What
does
is
he
it?
It's
say?
because she said Pookie.
Yeah, she
Oh,
did.
what
say.
is that all
She gave a
about?
shout out to Pookie.
It's like
Pookie.
Pookie the person or
No,
Pookie,
Pookie,
like
your
her
boyfriend.
homie?
See, I love you, Pookie.
All right.
It was just like it became this like unifying. Like it was like, oh my god,
What
like,
what is
all
that
of
though?
the things
That's
I
like
want
her,
in one
her
person.
man or her friend
I'm
or
gonna put the camera on you.
Okay.
All right, Eric is about to.
Eric hit the blue line.
Blue line has been hit.
I was gonna be sad if it didn't happen during the episode, so I'm really glad we got to that.
Oh,
All right.
there it is. Blue
Well,
line
Can we
achieved.
NFT that?
we might be able to, but when the podcast hits that point, it's a nice time for closure.
Who's
so
the camera even on? We
yeah.
don't know.
I guess what I'm saying is I think it's alfalfa. It's just pure alpha.
This should have just been the alfalfa round.
yeah,
It's
we
pure
should have just
alpha.
inserted this in the alfalfa round.
But it's like call her daddy alpha, not alfalfa. You know?
I would love if you had a Call Her Daddy segment like as a recurring thing.
That'd be fun.
We'll have to think of.
I mean, the call her daddy girls talk about this.
We need your own version of it.
They specifically talk about Hawke Tuah before Hawke Tuah was a thing.
I'm sure they did. They're
They're like a top tenor.
pretty.
They talk
Maybe.
about the Gluck Gluck 9000.
The, Oh God! I
You know
forgot
about the Gluck
Gluck?
Gluck?
Yeah. That was classic.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, you leave it at that, and we'll leave it at this. Everyone, thanks for joining. Thanks for everyone in the chat for staying with us thus far. We appreciate you staying. We see that you hang out with
We're
us.
deleting that
all-
entire segment.
All
I
2
hated
hours.
every
This
minute of
this podcast will be ever for deleted.
Love you,
Um,
Pookie.
Yeah, Steven loves you, Pookie. If you haven't already, like the YouTube video. It helps us out. Give us a little review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if that's your thing. And yeah, we'll see you next Wednesday. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us. See you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
I still want to know who Pookie is.